section where we get to make fun of all these people.
Okay.
We're trying to get serious here, guys. Where we make fun of all these people, right, for their hypocrisy, because they're constantly calling us right wingers, you know, neo like Nazis. They're called not even neo Nazis. They call us straight up Nazis. Bread and Round Alliance, pasta, all that shit. But these people on the left, and we're gonna call them out, are supporting the neo-Nazi and the State Department narrative, which, I mean, hand in hand right there, you know, like this. So a lot of people, and the reason I'm going this like step one is because a lot of people were saying, how do you know these people are neo-Nazis? I've never heard of that. What are you talking about? I don't know if it's because they really don't know or because they're whatever, but like, I'm going to do this just this once. These people are actually neo-Nazis. Even a milquetoast definition of the Azov Battalion on Wikipedia literally says right-wing extremist and neo-Nazi Ukraine National Guard unit based in Mariupol in the Azov Sea coastal region. Okay, guys, neo-Nazis. And you can see this from daily veracity.com. The militia, which is explicitly neo-Nazi, is being used by the West as a proxy face against Russia as US and NATO seek to expand their military might throughout the region, which this is literally what this is about. You can see their emblem. If you flip it to the other side, it's a fucking Nazi sign. In 2015, the US withheld open support of the Azov Battalion. Just 1 year later, in 2016, the Pentagon urged Congress to remove the ban on funding of the neo-Nazi group. This is something we didn't even talk about, but we talked about before. Initially, in 2015, they were like, no, we removed the ban, and then they put it silently back. They put a ban, and then they removed it right back out quietly. And yeah, so that's that. You can see a picture right there. Okay, so, and they're not the only ones. There are other less popular groups that are there, but you can see their flags and there. So do not fucking tell me that these people are not neo-Nazis. And the reason I'm so fervent about this is because I actually oppose real Nazis, real neo-Nazis. I don't call a Trump supporter or a Proud Boy Fed guy a fucking Nazi every 5 seconds. Okay, I don't have to do that. I actually focus on the real people with power, with actual guns that are literally killing people. And the State Department, of course, which has the real fascists in power, as well as the surveillance state.
Yeah. I just think this would be a good time, and I'm only going to say this much, for people to go look up the definition of bando right. Just go do that, and then you'll understand what's going on over here. So. Okay.
And again, I want to reiterate that too. Not everybody in Ukraine is a neo-Nazi, right? But a lot of people are misinformed, and this whole thing is being led by this specific group, which is what the counter movement is trying to crush specifically, as well as, of course, the U.S. Western NATO influence. Now, even going back to what happened before, the CIA actually trained these Ukrainian paramilitaries, and there was this article released on Yahoo News last month by Zach Dorfman, and the article basically just talked about how the CIA is overseeing a secret intensive training program in the U.S. for elite Ukrainian special operations forces and other intelligence personnel, according to 5 former intelligence and national security officials familiar with the initiative. So there you go. And the CIA trained forces, of course, they said are going to play a role. They are playing a role now. And this is, of course, run by paramilitaries working for the CIA's ground branch, which is now known as the Ground Department, which was established during the Obama administration after Russia's invasion and annexation of Crimea in 2014. And this is, of course, framed this way. And of course, it expanded under the Trump administration, and the Biden administration is augmented to it. So again, fam, what do we always say? New boss, same as the old boss. It doesn't matter. The foreign policy continued to make this a reality. And
absolutely.
By 2015, of course, this of course was expanded to the anti-Russia effort. And the way they trained them, the training included, of course, firearms, camouflage techniques, land navigation, tactics like cover and move, intelligence, and other areas. And this is according to these literal CIA officials. Now, this is the next part, fam, is for my Antifa people, my Tinas and my status quo people
Damn.
who focus so much on these idiot, right-wing culture war morons that are like, saying hateful things about BLM, which, I mean, if you want to oppose that, sure. But if you're going to make it the brunt of your journalism while ignoring actual fascism and actually supporting actual fascism going on in foreign policy wise, then I'm not going to take you seriously. So a 2018 FBI affidavit asserted that the Azov Battalion is believed to have participated in training and radicalizing the United States-based white supremacy organizations, including members of the white supremacist Rise Above movement, prosecuted for planned assaults on counter-protesters at far-right events, including the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally that Joe Biden later co-opted as a rationale for his presidential campaign. Okay? And so it's just hilarious because the Biden administration has talked about their war on domestic terror, these domestic violent extremists, naming the Proud Boys and even anybody that was remotely anti-establishment as a domestic violent extremist, yet simultaneously, the United States is quietly providing cover and training for these far-right neo-Nazi types on the global scale, right? Yeah. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, Pasta, but that's just like the gist of what I mean. It's just...
Well, I mean, it's just that, like, it's like we said with Mark the other day, there's a big difference between, a right-winger in the United States who's going to really, say some stupid stuff and, constantly play Born to Be an American, because at least I know I'm free.
Proud to
I'm
be
free.
an American.
They might, proud to be. That might really bother you and piss you off and crazy. But we're talking about the funding of these right wing groups over here in Ukraine, and yes, just like the CIA funded and trained the Mujahideen and ISIS and Al Qaeda factions, they did the same thing with the Ukrainians over here. There's a big difference between that particular right winger in the United States that everybody likes to focus on, the oh my God left. Make it seem like these people are the biggest threat to the world when they just think differently half the time, as compared to like a right winger from what do you call it, a paramilitary group that will cut your head off. You know what I'm saying? Actual death squads in these different places. So yeah, I'm glad you did bring this up, whatnot, because once again they were trained and funded, and we'll train and fund the sickest group as long as they fight for American interest. We don't give a damn.
And I never want to see, again, I have to repeat this, I never want to see these fucking people who call us all these names and say, we're Brad Brown and all this stuff, ever talk about Nazis ever again while they're supporting actual paramilitary Nazis in Ukraine. I never want to hear that. Their comments at us do not have any sort of weight, not that they ever did, but especially now, because they're okaying this whole situation. And not only that, they're marching with their little flags and they're putting they're putting Ukrainian flags on their Twitter bio while simultaneously promoting this. I mean, it's fucking laughable.
Yeah. And something, as more information comes out and people are kind of like, wow, holy shit. The one thing they'll see too as well is at one point, Obama didn't want to send them weapons and whatnot. You know who did it in our place instead of them? Can you remember we did a story on this like 3 years ago, fam, because we've been talking about the neo-Nazis in the Ukraine for a long time. It was Israel. Remember, Israel sent over weapons to the Ukraine to actual fund neo-Nazis. That was the irony of the situation, the craziness in the Ukraine. So when some of those progressives pick up that information, go ahead and use that one to go, you know what I'm saying? When you're out there, when you fucking wake up and find out and you smell the coffee and realize what's going on.
So, our favorite warmonger in chief, you can't fool me. You can fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Can't fool me again.
Exactly. He said Russia's attack on Ukraine constitutes the gravest security crisis on the European continent since World War II. Where are the shoes? Somebody throw a shoe at Pasta. I joined the international community in condemning Vladimir Putin's unprovoked and unjustified invasion of Ukraine. Okay, we cannot tolerate the authoritarian bullying. Why are you going to trust anything coming out of the mouth of this fucking guy who got us into the largest, the most war
That's
in Iraq? I mean, guys, what do you realize who you're standing with, Abby Martin? You realize who you're standing with, Mike Preisner? I'm not going to call them by Frank's names because that's just Frank. Frank is vicious. And so Obama, of course, I'm not going to read his whole thing. You guys can see it for yourself. But I mean, he says, let's see, blah, blah, blah. He says, the consequences of Russia's reckless actions extend beyond Ukraine's borders. This illegal invasion in the heart of Europe also threatens the foundation of the international order and security. I mean, the same fucking bullshit, this fucking warmonger who took us from 2 to 7 wars. I mean, this fucking warmonger who is responsible, who under his foreign policy, literally Hillary Clinton overthrew democratically elected regimes. Like, I mean, democratically elected governments, I should say. And I mean, of course, he's talking about sanctions and he said that's a price we should be willing to pay to take a stand on the side of freedom.
Yeah.
What freedom? What freedom as you're persecuting journalists like Julian Assange for exposing these war crimes, okay? And WikiLeaks has tons of information on this too, by the way. And it's just crazy to me that these people do not see who they're standing with, right? And I expect this from the Obamas. I expect these from the Trumps and not even the Trumps, because Trump said something positive about Putin. Now Putin is a right winger and a Trumper. So if you support Putin, you're also a right winger in the Trump.
Can I read this one?
The narrative. Yeah, go ahead, please.
The U.S. and our allies must impose severe sanctions on Vladimir Putin and his fellow oligarchs. At a time when thousands may die as a result of his war, Putin, one of the richest people in the world, should not be allowed to enjoy the billions he stole from the Russian people. Who the fuck wrote that for you? Who the hell? The last part is like, all right, you were already full of shit. Somebody's writing this for you. But really now, Bernie, you got this where he stole billions of people from the Russian people, billions. The Panama Papers. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, there was a lot of other people that you say are your friend.
Regardless, even if Putin was the biggest piece of shit in the world, regardless, that has nothing to do with the thing at hand, right? And this is what they do. They say, look, Putin is an oligarch. He's a right winger. He's this. This is what they used to get these progressive and these leftists to say, well, I'm a communist and I have my allegiance to my cult of PSL. Therefore, I can't at all say anything positive about Putin. So Putin, therefore, I must stand with neo-Nazis in Ukraine. They're like, I don't know what to do. It's like that meme where they don't know which button to push. They're like sweating. It's fucking ridiculous. And, I said as much to Bernie. I called him a warmonger, an imperialist. I said, I regret ever standing by you. People got mad that I said that. Like, if you're still supporting Bernie Sanders right now, you're a cuck too. Because, I mean, at this point, I don't know how you're still supporting Bernie Sanders. I mean, he is regurgitating the same exact talking points as Barack Hussein Obama, the same exact talking points as George W. Bush, the same exact talking points as the neocons in Congress that he supposedly goes to war every fucking day.
Yeah,
in
but
the Senate,
they're different.
The same exact talking points, guys.
He still cares about the inequality. He still wants to get people healthcare, fam. So it's different. It's a different rhetoric. It's a kinder, nicer, softer imperialist, and I think we should point that out and at least recognize that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's soft because he's saying, the United States and our allies must impose severe sanctions on Vladimir Putin and his fellow oligarchs. Thousands may die as a result of this war, blah, blah, blah. It's just ridiculous. Like, what? So your sanctions are an act of war. They're an act of siege war, as Pasta pointed out earlier in the stream. This is Bernie Sanders, your most progressive leftist member of the Senate, okaying, and not only okaying, asking, demanding that you, his cult followers, stand in line and support him on imposing these sanctions. This is what the progressive movement is. This is what the left is. I want no part of that fucking shit. I want no part of that. They're imperialists. And, one of our good friends from, she lives here. Well, she's from here, but she lives abroad. And she was with us throughout Nicaragua, which is like, this is more blatant than ever. The United States left is just a bunch of imperialists. It is disgusting. And we're going to go over all of
Bernie Sanders is no Mike Gravel. You know what I'm saying? You know what Mike Gravel would be saying? You know what's worse than soldiers dying in vain? More soldiers dying in vain. I say we just plain get out.
It's fucking disgusting. And I don't even waste my time with him anymore because I feel like he's so irrelevant, but I'm glad he's getting ratioed and getting just attacked numerously. And of course, now I'm going to go on to the people that
oh no, fam,
have attacked, have really just lost.
We're going to get it on the tweeters.
We are going to get it on the tweeters. And by the way, Abby Martin blocked me. Empire Fires blocked me. Mike Kreisner blocked me. I don't know why. All I did was, I don't know. Like, what did I do? If Franco is the one that really went after them. But okay. So Abby Martin said Putin just threw a match into a tinderbox. Horrific criminal behavior, no matter what precipitated this. We must push for de-escalation, not war. Solidarity with the Ukrainian people and the anti-war movement in Russia. And then she goes on to say something else that I think got cut off. But or maybe she.
You could have seen this coming though. She was awful with Crimea, so.
Yeah, she got
it so wrong on Crimea. You could expect this. It was like.
But you guys have been seeing this shift, right? You've been seeing this shift with some of these people. Either they want jobs or they want to keep a certain part of the audience or brand, as one of the people that you're with over there constantly says. And so, I mean, this is the take that I'm having a problem with, right? The two siding, the both siding, the fence sitting. Fuck the fence sitting anymore. This is a very clear-cut situation. The United States government, NATO, back neo-Nazis, and this is what led to the situation. Putin's response is I mean, I would have responded even more aggressively, perhaps. I mean, this is, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, a tinderbox, do you see the drama in that? A tinderbox? And yes, we should push for de-escalation, not war. Who is escalating this? Who are you protesting? If you're protesting Russia, you're protesting the wrong people. Because first of all, Russia isn't your country. Your country is the United States of America and the State Department and these intelligence agencies that have been training these neo-Nazis. Okay, so if you're not talking about all that and you're just coming in with this whole bullshit right now, all of a sudden, you're not only doing your audience a disservice, you're being completely dishonest as to really what this is about here. Okay.
A Twitter attack from Robbie Martin in T-minus 5 minutes and 14 seconds. There you go.
Okay, so and the next one, of course, Pasta, I'll let you read it if you want.
Which one? Oh, well, because I was
You
reaching.
put it in there, yeah.
I didn't put this one in. Somebody else put it in there.
You quote tweeted it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you didn't put my quote tweet in there.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but you can condemn. We talked about this earlier. This is kind of like the position now of the progressives where they're planting their flags of you can condemn Putin's invasion and condemn the U.S. arming of the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. You should try it. Like both sides, fence sitting, it's bullshit. Yeah, if you know what the hell's going on, then it's good. So I put down, I'm going to read it so people could hear it. So you're condemning Putin for bombing neo-fascist Banderite Nazis who shelled ethnic-speaking Russians in the Donbass region for the past 8 years because the Western-backed regime empowered them to do so? Okay.
Exactly.
Hashtag 2014.
That was such a good tweet. Yeah. Okay. I mean, why are you're condemning Putin for doing that? Like, you might want to condemn him for other things. I don't know, maybe, but this whole both siding thing, like, it's just like, it just shows me that you don't know what you're talking about, essentially. Yeah. Either you don't know what you're talking about or you're trying to protect a brand. And I'm so sorry, but this isn't going to cut it anymore. And I think people that are, straggling that line as these so-called leftist anti-imperialists should be called out for pushing actual imperialism and for really siding with all the people that we just fucking mentioned, all the warmongers and all the neo-Nazis and all of that. Because that's exactly, you're manufacturing consent. You're allowing that narrative to still exist where it shouldn't exist because it is a false narrative. And it's that fucking simple. Code Pink, another one.
Oh shit, this one hurt.
Another one. If you've been paying attention, you've been seeing Code Pink kind of go in this route. When I was in New York, actually, for the first iteration of the, no war with Ukraine or no war with Russia, blah, 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 hands off Ukraine. I was there and I filmed the whole thing. And honestly, there was like one good speech. It was Margaret Kimberly's, and the rest was like, there was somebody that mentioned Julian Assange. That's it. Everybody else was like COVID and Trump and just very much just like very, and I'm not saying this to you guys who are older, right? I'm not saying this to be ageist, but there are a lot of older people that are in charge of Code Pink that need to delegate because they're not in line with what's happening now. They're completely out of touch with what's been happening. And one of our friends who is a member was completely aghast by this, say, I can't believe that this is like, wow. And, and we'll see what they do from here on out. But
what they should do, liaise. We said this with Steve. Just be liaisons. pass it on over now, right? You know, I hate to quote Eric Swalwell, but pass the mic or pass whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Hand it on over. You're done.
So again, it's the same shit. You can condemn Russia and challenge the U.S. It's like they
same virtue signaling bullshit.
Fucking shit. It's like they do that, right?
It's the same virtue signaling bullshit.
I had to put the counters to that. Eva Bartlett, great tweet. Where is the outrage for the people of Donbass, Gaza, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Serbia? I mean, these people have been silent for so long. All of a sudden, just because the media hits the button, they all follow along like little fucking robot cucks that they are.
Ooh,
and
shit,
this is just the next thing. This is just like we live in a cartoon, right, Steve? This is Facebook is reversing its ban on posts praising Ukraine's far-right Azov battalion. They don't even call it neo-Nazi, but this is exactly what it is. And it says Facebook is backtracking on its ban.
Moonwalking, fam.
Posts praising their role in defending Ukraine or being in Ukraine's National Guard will be allowed. The company will continue to ban hate speech and hate symbolism, a Meta spokesperson told Insider. It don't those contradict? We're talking about neo-Nazis. Don't those contradict? Well, we're going to make an excuse because the State Department and, you know, the intelligence and people in charge of this country decided that we're going to make it a complete excuse. But please, by all means, you do live in a free country and you're on the right side of things. I mean, it's a fucking shit show, Pasta. Yep. I mean, we get things taken down for the slightest bit, and now these people have full right to push these neo-Nazis. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The fucking marmot. I need the marmot to go somewhere to come back and send us into another timeline, another dimension, another universe. I also need a Matrix bar. But, you know, that's beside the point.
We got a refrigerator full of them, ladies and gentlemen, and that is it. Anything else from that subject? Oz, you got anything to say about this? Because you got so aggravated, one of your buttons from your overalls broke off. So if you got something to say.
Yeah, I've got something to say. Where in the history of this country in the last 40 years have we ever not backed or put up fascist regimes somewhere? When have we not done it? And
I know.
How would this country like it if Putin put military bases along Mexico's border and Canada's border? Do you think this country wouldn't be shitting their pants? Are you kidding me? So that's what I got to say about it. Keep it up, guys. Keep going.
The audience can hear you there.
The audience loves you, Oz. Yes, they love us.
Beautiful. Check out Roar Media.